And now,
this is Jeremy Housewright of your Gate City Blue Devil football team, and you are listening to the home of the Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
This is Michael Calhoun, speaking on behalf of the Gate City football and track team. We would like to thank you for listening to Gate City Sports Radio, home of the Blue Devils.
This is Luke Reed of the Gate City football, basketball, and soccer teams, and you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. Go Big Blue.
This is Suzanne Moore of the Gate City Cross Country and Track teams, and you are listening to the home of the Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. Let's go, Blue.
We are the Gate City Cheerleaders, and you're listening to the home of the Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
you are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be and however you may be listening to us. Thank you for making us a part of your Friday night. You're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio. I'm Joe Carter along with Chris Carr, and we're broadcasting to you live from Legion Field here on the beautiful campus of Gate City High School as our Blue Devils will host the Abingdon Falcons in a pivotal Mountain 7 district matchup. Here on the James River Advisors pregame show, we're going to have a breakdown of the Gate City and Abingdon matchup. We'll go over our pick and panel picks, announce the starting lineups. We'll go over the previews and predictions for other games around Southwest Virginia and Upper East Tennessee. And, of course, we're going to bring you live coverage of the game here we'll kick off in about 55 minutes. Then on the campus drive-in halftime show, we'll go over all the scores and highlights from around the region and a recap of the first half. Then we'll, of course, have an exciting second half. And then afterwards, we'll have the post-game show. So you will just sit back and relax, folks. We're here on the home opener for Gate City. Again, Gate City and Abingdon coming up in about 55 minutes. We'll take a quick break, come back, and get you ready for a great night of football action here from Legion Field. Again, you're listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
With the qualifications we need for Scott County Sheriff, candidate Greg McMurray has the law enforcement experience and ideas that you can believe in. His philosophy is simple: focus on the issues. He believes in transparency within the Sheriff's Office, proper patrolling throughout the entire county, and developing innovative programs like he did while serving with the Bristol Police Department by establishing and developing the Community Police Program. Greg also has the needed experience in supervising large workforces and staffs as he did in the private sector. He is asking for your support this November to become the Scott County Sheriff we need now and into the future. Greg McMurray is a lifelong resident of Scott County and thanks you in advance for your support this fall. Paid for by Greg McMurray Sheriff.
You are listening to the home of Blue Devil Sports. This is Gate City Sports Radio.
Over the last 11 years, Christina Kilgore-Wiggs has continued to demonstrate her vast knowledge of the local real estate market and strives to represent each of her clients with the value and respect they deserve. She is a trusted and well-respected real estate professional, and now she has joined a group who shares her vision of putting clients first. She is now with Conservis Real Estate Group and welcomes the opportunity to serve you and your family. Please call her today at 423-360-0092. That's 423-360-0092. Or go to christina.conservisrealestategroup.com for more information.
And we're back here live from Legion Field on the campus of Gate City High School. Right now they are introducing the Little Leaguers that's been playing, of course, up to this point this year. Gate City is warming up to our left, Abingdon now to the right, and want to bring in, without any further ado, the man, the myth, he is the legend, Chris the Hammer Carr. How are you tonight, big man?
I'm ready for some football, Joe. How about you?
Doing great, great, ready for a big game. Of course, last week we had a pretty good one, I believe, up in Richlands, 34-29. Again, Richlands jumped out to the 9-0 lead. Gate City stormed back to 21-9, and all of a sudden we had a ball game back and forth like two boxers, as we mentioned. Great ball game last week.
It was a really exciting game. As I said at the end of our broadcast, I've been going to high school games for, I'm going to say, close to 40 years. That was one of the most exciting games I ever remember watching.
Again, a lot of great overall individual performances. Of course, we'll talk about our Premier Pharmacy Players of the Week here in just a few minutes. But first of all, we do want to have a couple of thank yous, and we want to acknowledge a couple. Scott Services, if you're here at Legion Field, and again, we invite everybody to come out, make sure the crowd is starting to come in here fast and furious. But Scott Services did the painting and cleaning of the stadium. You know, it sort of got a little bit run down the last couple of years. They came in, worked all summer long. They did a tremendous job. They've really done a great job here. It looks very, kind of turns back the clock a little bit. And again, want to say thank you to Scott Services. Also to Stone Excavating. They came in and leveled the field. They were nice enough to be at our coaches show on Wednesday night. And they took down, I believe it was 17 inches of grade off of the field. Is that right, Chris?
I believe that's close to it. And, Joe, I noticed that right when I walked in. You can actually see the difference just at an immediate glance on the field, and the logo painted on the 50-yard line looks absolutely fantastic. You know,
you could, if you stood on the Gate City side and you looked over to the Abingdon side, you would see maybe this is the top half of a player, but now you can see all the way across. And again, I want to say thank you to Stone Excavating for doing that. And again, Scott Services for cleaning and the restoration of the stadium. So, Chris, let's talk about some football here. Northeast Tennessee. Tennessee games coming up again tonight. Tennessee High at Daniel Boone. Going to be a good one. Daniel Boone 1-1 suffered loss last week to, again, Class 4 state champion Greenville. Big news out of that game, though. The Trailblazers' big star Charlie Cole broke his forearm. He is sidelined for up to 6 weeks. Now, they were going to try to put a cast on it so he could play maybe on the defensive side. That was going to be a wait-and-see kind of situation. But the Trailblazers have won the last 3 in the series. And even though the Cole's out, I've still got Daniel Boone winning a close one at home, 28-24.
I struggled long and hard trying to decide who to pick in this game, and I wish I had actually known about Cole's injury before right now. I still think this one is just coming down to a coin toss. Both teams, I think, are athletically really similar.
Tennessee High, of course, they were off last week. They got shellacked by Dobbs-Bennett in Week 1 in Tennessee, 33-13. But so it'll be interesting to see. Again, the Trailblazers and Tennessee High Vikings will be kicking off here at 7:30. Another ball game, Elizabethton at Sullivan East. I think the clock has already started running over at the Patriot Pasture. Again, both these teams come in. Sullivan East lost a heartbreaker to Johnson County. They had a 13-0 lead, lost 14-13. Of course, they were off last week. Elizabethton scored 122 points over the last 2 seasons and wins over the Patriots. Cade Maupin has led the Cyclones this year, especially over Science Hill over that big win. He had 153 yards and a touchdown. Chris, I don't think this one will be close at all. Elizabethton, I think I've got them winning 50-13.
Coach Witten for Elizabethton is not afraid to air that ball out. I hope the Sullivan East secondary is ready for that, because this one could get ugly quick.
So, there was a member of the media thought that Elizabethton was going to try. They were going to run their regular offense, but they were going to try some things, work on some things, use it as a game, and that's sad. That's sad, but anyway, it's reality again. I think Elizabethton is going to be just way too much. One that's probably close and dear to your heart. The Indians of Dobbins-Bennett High School hit to the road for the first time this year. They go to Bearden. Indians, they should be motivated again. Last year they had a 17-point second-half lead, disappeared, and again losing that ball game 33-30. I'm pulling for the Indians, so I'm going to pick against them. I've got Bearden winning. I'm 1-7 with Dobbins-Bennett games the last 2 years. Every time I pick against them, they win. I'm pulling for the Tribe, so I've got Bearden winning 29-26 if you can follow that at home.
Let's just go ahead and say you're picking Dobbins-Bennett to go winless this season then.
Exactly.
They've got things going in the right direction there. They've got, I think, the right coaching staff in place. Bearden is just tough. And the fact it's down there, I'm not really comfortable about this game.
Well, anytime they head to Knoxville, there's something about that down there. I mean, it's always worth 3 to 7 points. It'd be a great ball game.
And if I'm not mistaken, also, I believe it is Bearden that Condridge Holloway, former UT standout quarterback, his son's a wide receiver there. And I was at the game last year, and Condridge was sitting over by himself, and he would stand up, and he was the only one on the Bearden side dancing when they were down big to Dobbins Bennett. And he seemed to really enjoy that second half. I'm sure he's been down there working with the team, and, well, it's Bearden.
Well, and it's I believe in Times News they said the season really starts tonight for Dobbins Bennett. Again, they have a couple wins, good wins over Oak Ridge and Tennessee High to open the season. Another ball game with a 6A school that's going in the opposite direction. Science Hill at Hardin Valley. Again, I think this is a pivotal game for the Hilltoppers. You know, they lost to 4A Elizabethton. They lost to Crockett last week and was crushed. They're very young, that front seven. They've got some good skill kids, but again, the youth of the Hilltoppers, I think they come up short again tonight. The Hilltoppers dropped to 0-3. I've got them losing to Hardin Valley, 33-28.
If this was in Johnson City, it might be a little different game, but Hardin Valley, since the school's inception, they have been a football powerhouse, and I don't think the road gets any easier for the Hill.
No, I think they dropped to 0-3 tonight. Could be looking at a sub-500 season in Johnson City. Sullivan South goes on the road as well. Talking about a team that's a surprising 0-2. South, you know, they came in as one of the top picks. They thought that they would probably be one of the better teams in the area. They're 0-2. They've got that big offensive line. Last week, a back-and-forth game with Cherokee, end up losing by 2. Granger is undefeated. They've had a good start, 2-0. But I think South, we'll see them next week here at Legion Field. I think they right the ship tonight. I think they win a close one, and they go to 1-2. I think I've got them giving the win 29-27.
I think Sullivan South this season has faced better talent than Granger County has, and I still think South is better than their record. They just have to hold on to the ball.
Well, and talk about they're young in the skill position. They've got those big offensive linemen, the seniors and juniors on the defense and offensive line. So, again, I think they'll wear them down and win in the end. Hampton at Happy Valley. This doesn't decide the 2A title tonight, but the loser will be scrambling all season to make up ground. The Warriors have allowed just 12 points in 2 games, but Hampton is a lot better team than what they've faced, I believe, so far. Hampton dominated Unicoi County last week. We've got with their running back, had 2,000 yards last week, kept him down to 41 yards total. I've got Hampton going on the road, and they win on Warrior Hill 29-22.
A co-worker of mine and a really good friend actually graduated from Happy Valley, and I texted him before I made my pick for this game, and under conditions of anonymity, because he says he still knows lots of people around Elizabeth, and he told me to go with Hampton on this game. Hampton, he said, his words, they just have more guns. They're usually a much more athletic team than Happy Valley.
So we'll see what happens there in the 2A division. I know everybody's sitting on the edge of the seats waiting for this one, so we'll talk about it now. Hancock County at Unaka. Since Hancock County lost to Cosby and Unaka beat Cosby, I think that Hancock County wins this one, or Unaka beats Hancock County, 27-12.
I think this one has the potential for there to be a lot of tears in Sneedville. Clinch River may rise a couple of feet.
So flood warning in effect for the Clinch. Really quick, talking about Sullivan North comes in 2-0, taking on the road there at Cosby. Sullivan North playing their first 3 on the road. I've got Sullivan North, again, they a little bit more physical than we sort of maybe gave them credit for the first few weeks. Johnson County was able to keep them in check most of the game last week. They did get loose and scored 12 points. I've got them beating Cosby tonight 24-6.
I have been really impressed this year with North's ability to come back to win. They fell behind early at Central. Johnson County took a lead on them, and North has shown that they can fight back, and that's going to really pay benefits for them as the season goes on. I'm liking the Raiders this year.
Again, that's an important 2A game right there. Pigeon Forge, Sullivan Central. Pigeon Forge just too much that going down to Pigeon Forge. I've got Pigeon Forge knock off Sullivan Central 30-6 as the Gate City Band makes the arrival as they march in here in front of us. So Davy Crockett volunteer Chris, I believe the clock is also running already in Church Hill as the Pioneers, coming off that absolute just obliteration of Science Hill, go to volunteer tonight.
There's the potential for cross